Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with my partner Clark Kellogg, and we're ready to give you all the big names and top teams that'll define this season. We're looking ahead to what should be an amazing year in college basketball, so let's take a look at the preseason top 25 poll and see who starts the season at the top of the heap. These are the top 5 teams in college hoops as we begin the new season. The Indiana Hoosiers come in as the #1 ranked team, followed by Villanova, St. John's, UCLA, and St. Mary's. What do you think of the top 5 teams going into the year, Clark?
Sometimes the top players in the nation and the best teams in the nation aren't necessarily together at the top of the poll. But going into this season, we have some of the absolute best players playing on the marquee teams. That's really exciting to me, Greg.
Indiana is in the catbird seat to start the season, sitting pretty in the #1 spot. They've got a whole crew of high school. Villanova is in the #2 spot. St. John comes in as UCLA. St. Mary's is the #5 team. For the pollsters to show that much confidence in a mid-major, that's saying something.
There's no doubt this team stands out among the non-power conference schools. I just hope for their sake they see enough tough competition during the season to prepare them for March.
Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. What do you think of this group, Clark?
With such a long season ahead of us, it's almost impossible to put a finger on just who the contenders and pretenders are from this set of teams. But that doesn't mean we won't try.
The Virginia Cavaliers, the #11 team, have been talked about quite a bit as we head into the season. They're lucky to have a place in the poll at all with only one starter returning from last year's squad.
That's because the 4 players they have coming in are fantastic players in their own right. Most coaches would be thrilled to have those guys in their lineup, no matter how many games they started last year.
The Clemson Tigers. How about this list?
This looks to me like the deepest preseason 25 poll we've seen in years. I think there are teams even all the way back in this group.
The Richmond Spiders, the #20 team, could be one to watch. They had a nice finish to the year, but it ended with a disappointing loss in the regional final.
They were so close to the Final Four they could taste it. And the memory of that Elite 8 loss should be all the motivation they need this year to work just that little bit harder. We'll see if they can get over the hump this time.
The Dayton Flyers, the #24 team, are also worth keeping an eye on. They're going to have to find someone to fill the void left by their departed leading scorer, Clark.
The important thing for them is not to thrust someone into that role just for the sake of it. It will be a much smoother transition if the players are allowed to ease into their new spots.
As usual, we have a lot of new coaching hires to tell you about as we start the season. There before you are all the new coaching hires in college hoops. There were some intriguing moves made, that's for sure. The Texas Tech coach is one of the hires that drew a lot of media. The West Virginia. We've come to the part of the show when we look at the top players in the nation and unveil the list of our preseason All-America. The Red Storm of St. John's are pinning their hopes squarely on this young man. As for our next first-teamer, Kansas. Next up is a player. Let's move on to a player. And finally, we have another superb player to round out the first team. Now let's move on to the second-team All-Americans. Not such a bad list. The Indiana Hoosiers, the next player on the team we can all look for. And here we have the... All right, Clark, thanks very much.